Good evening, folks. I'm back with you yet again after such a long time of, well, let's just say absolutely nothing. It's come to my attention that yet again Mark Collett wants to drag my name, my good name, into disrepute, as to be used as a crutch against, causing some kind of like divide between people that are actually trying to produce some good within, whether you want to say, the nationalist community or not. Um, and this is in response to, and this will be a response to Mark Collett's accusations made in his Hope Not Hate review that he did last night. I believe it was last night. And they're pretty big accusations, found upon very little context. Now, I'm not as petty as Mark, so I'm going to actually give the full context of his review of the situation. Um, just to go over this, I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm only going to play a segment that pertains to myself, the inn, Chris Mitchell, and the event surrounding, well, what happened last year, basically. Now, we're going to begin with Mark's opening video. We'll begin with that, and then I'll go into the Anglo Joe's response, because I wanted to clarify some things Joe said in his video that are wrong. And after that, yeah, if anyone wants to ask any questions, now's the time, because I'm sick of having to literally repeat ad nauseum the same fucking thing over and over again. And I'm sick of being used as a crutch. So get your questions in and I'll answer them later. This is your one opportunity. I'm not going to fucking go on this again. I'm done with this shit. Right? I'm done with the petty fucking bullshit from Patriotic Alternative, Mark Collett, Laura Towler, Kenny Smith, fucking Charlie Big Potatoes, Chris Kearns, whatever you want to call him. I'm done with all that, and the little underlings that just want to, like, bury their head in the sands to what this organization's actually all about, and what it's actually, and how damaging it is to the fucking, thing they say they're trying to protect, which is the future, right? So, okay, right, let's get on with this fucking pile of shite from Mark Collett. There we go. Do you want to go full screen? Right, okay, so this is on Hope Not Hate Exposed on his Odyssey channel, his little review. We're going to start at the 56:45 mark. This should be about 10 minutes or so. I believe it took, maybe a bit more. So, let's begin, shall we?
Now, this could just be business, because some people have said this to me. They said Jim Dowson and Jada Franson, they're in business. They've got a business. It's the British Freedom Party, and they're just trying to knock the competition out. They're just trying to knock the competition out. They're just trying to get rid of their nearest competitor. They want to bring over all the people from Britain First into the British Freedom Party, and they want to grow their organization, so they're employing dirty tricks to get rid of Paul. But is it more than that? Because I've said before, Hope Not Hate works with the security services and uses the security services as their proxy. But does Hope Not Hate have its own proxies? Does Hope Not Hate have its proxies in the nationalist movement, who weaponize disgruntled nationalists into attacking other decent nationalists? And do these proxies pay disgruntled or troublesome nationalists to attack other good nationalists? Well, I'm going to present you with some more information, because last year, this is where PA becomes involved. We had a guy on board who used to do a show on...
Right, okay, so for a little bit of a breakdown here, Mark's trying to infer that the recent attack on Tommy Robinson via Hope Not Hate and the smear campaigns against Paul Golding, that PA have suffered a similar event campaign by people like Jada, Nick Griffin, Jim Dawson, and what he's claiming here is their lackeys or proxies via Chris Mitchell, myself, and that'll be made painfully obvious in the coming minutes. Yeah.
D-Live. His name was Chris Mitchell. I'm not hiding his name. And we had a parting of ways with Chris Mitchell. Chris Mitchell had numerous problems. He was doing things on stream which were not in alignment with our values. He was doing things to support as an activist in the organization which weren't in line with our values. And we asked him to take some time away from the organization to either get his head together or decide to leave. He said, that's it, I'm never coming back. But within days,
let me stop him here. Okay, so on about Chris Mitchell being, leaving Patriotic Alternative. Chris was kicked out because it is claimed that Natty, and we're talking about the former Southwest regional organizer, Natty, the one who was predated Claire, our Claire, and then whoever took after her after she moved to Scotland. He was contacted by MI5 via telephone to ask about Chris Mitchell, right? This was their justification for removing Chris from Patriotic Alternative. Now, in the months leading up to this, prior to this, I had been in conversation with several people because I saw worrying signs within PA on what they were doing to people and how they were pushing people out of certain positions, right? People who were critical or weren't conformist to Kenny Smith's, shall we say, grand plan. People like Blue Monday, the former media officer in Patriotic Alternative, Scotland. He was pushed out. Who else? Oh, yeah. Shazia Hobbs was also pushed out. In fact, Kenny kind of instigated that little coup there himself. I was shocked at the fucking way they treated Shazia as they pushed her out. That went down, and so when it came to Chris, I'd not been too well and been dealing with having to juggle the thought of, well, Kenny's asked me just saying that March, this was about April time, this was all happening with the Shazia stuff, and then I was not very well during that period, and yeah, Kenny in March, I believe, had asked me to do this illegal shit, going into these Antifa groups, collecting all their details, the things that under Section 5 to 8 of the Terrorism Act is considered, useful information, likely, to be used by a terrorist. And there was so with Chris, from what I saw, he was being pushed out after the Thomas Sowell stream. That kind of gave them their justification for pushing him out, and his problems also with his relationship with Caribou, and Chris was distraught, and he was absent, and one day I believe I actually asked in their chat, their private chat, they had what's up with Chris, and lo and behold, two people come to my request for information. One of them being Charlie, trying to tell me that Chris is some dirty, woman abuser. And the other one, Claire, she also tried to spin the same narrative. And this was before I found out that they had that Chris had this breakdown, and he posted an attention-seeking suicide video to his ex, which she had then obviously passed on to Mark Collett, Charlie Big Potatoes, Claire. It became in the coming months, a month or so, quite obvious that everyone seemed to know about this. And yeah, so here we have like Mark trying to tell you, oh well, Chris just up and left one day. No, Chris was forced out. Chris was literally forced out because his relationship wasn't going so well and they wanted him out. Just like the other people I've mentioned, they wanted these people out. There's probably more as well that I don't even know about that were pushed out because they wouldn't toe the line, right? They weren't towing the line, or they were asking certain questions. In the case of Blue Monday, that is. And there's more there that I'm not going to go into because the guy fears for his life. So there we go. But let's continue with what Mark has to say then, shall we?
Within days of us saying to Mitchell, that's it, you need to take a break and walk away from us for a while, he was scooped up by Dowson and Franson and other associates of theirs. Mitchell didn't just phone them. He didn't just appear.
Chris was forced out when? June? Was it June? Yeah, it was the end of June. He was forced out the end of June, and I don't believe Dowson or Griffin got in contact with him for at least, well, the trip to Northern Ireland was in August, the middle of August. So there's another little lie from Collett. Collett and his sweet little lies. God, he gives Todd Howard a fucking run for his money, wouldn't he? Yeah, so it wasn't just days afterwards.
Here on a stream with them, but he has boasted to people who have come to me before I made this show tonight, who would happily go on record and state this, that he has boasted that Dowson and Franson paid him to go to Belfast. They flew him out there. It was all expenses paid. They paid for everything when he was out there. And he's also been boasting to people that they offered him money. They offered him basically cash, wages, bits of cash here and there. What for? To disrupt PA? They're not offering it for his hot takes on the latest.
There we are. I mean, there's the first accusation that Jim and Nick Griffin paid Chris to disrupt PA, and what follows is about me, the next part, but he's trying to infer that because Hope Not Hate have paid, or supposedly, according to Tommy Robinson in his documentary on Hope Not Hate, the expose he did, he claims that because Hope Not Hate have claimed to have paid people to lie and smear other groups, therefore Nick Griffin, Jim Dowson paid or gave Chris a trip to Northern Ireland to smear and disrupt PA. That's what he's trying to imply here. Right? Okay.
Just political happenings, are they? I mean, let's be honest. I'm not going to get into a big personal attack. I want to stick to the facts. But they're not paying him for his presentational skills. They're not paying him for his startling wit. They're not paying him for his high IQ. So what are they paying him for? And he's been boasting of this. This is something that he was very honest with people around him at the time. But it goes further than this, because since Mitchell flew out to Belfast, since he was offered money by Dowson and France, and since he was having his expenses paid for them, he has surrounded himself by other people who are working for Hope Not Hate. And not only has he surrounded himself with other people who are working for Hope Not Hate, but he's actually shielded them. He's actually vouched for them. He's let them in his chat groups. He's hosted shows with them. He has done everything.
Okay. Is he trying to imply here that and this is about me. He hasn't mentioned my name yet, but he's going to. Is he trying to imply that I am on Griffin and Jim Dowson's payroll? Is that what he's implying here? Then obviously that, or is he trying to imply that I'm on Hope Not Hate's payroll, and it's only since Chris got into bed with Dowson that he's allowed a Hope Not Hate spy into his, to host his platform with him? What's he trying to say? Like, only since I've been on fucking PA streams for fucking years with Chris and other people, it's only now that I'm a Hope Not Hate spy? Now, why would Collett need to smear my name? Why? I know this is an attack, and they're using me as a crutch to, try and stop the good work the Independent Nationalist Network's doing, right? I know what that's, everyone can see that this is fucking, that's what they're trying to do. The coincidence is not, it's there. And why do they need to smear my name? Why are they afraid that if I was given a fair and open platform to speak to people inside PA or in their, their circles, they're afraid that people might listen to what I have to say? I mean, it's quite obvious, isn't it? Like, they're afraid that, and this is why they need to, proclaim that I'm some kind of Hope Not Hate agent, right? Because they actually fear me talking about what I was asked to do, what I've seen, right? And all of the shit that's gone on within PA that is dodgy as fuck, and all the little, should we say, little white lies that, they've told PA members about certain events, or they don't want people to know about certain events. Like, shall we say, Kenny Smith, for one, joining, being instrumental in the, shall we say, breaking up of, part of the BNP over Mark Collett's, shall we say, attitude, or I don't know, why would a 25-year-old man to take two 15-year-old girls back to his hotel room? Maybe Mark can answer that question, and I'll answer the question of whether I work for Hope Not Hate. Yeah, but this is it. Kenny Smith supposedly calling him a paedophile over such an event in the Blackpool conference, I believe it was. In 2007, was it? I think it was 2007 or 8. It was. And splitting the, forming this the Decemberist movement or whatever it was that tried to split off, or get Griffin to, kick Mark out. And now, lo and behold, 10, 15 years later, he's working with the man he once called a paedophile that can be, proven via the documentation. But this isn't well known within PA circles about, Kenny Smith's, should we say, involvement with that. No, not many people know about that. So you tell me, like, is this why Mark Collett has to smear people because he's afraid that they'll tell other people the truth about him and about his organization and about the people in it, the dodgy people within his organization? Okay.
everything he can to raise their profile and protect them from any criticism. So he is working with other Hope Not Hate agents. And this forms one of those spider webs, you see on the walls of detectives' offices in films, where you can see where all the connections go. Now, one of the people he's been working with is a guy called Fraser Hudson. He goes by the name of Mad Flaz. And Chris Mitchell has been working with Fraser Hudson. And Fraser Hudson is someone that Chris Mitchell himself claims is working not only with a left-wing doxing page that doxes nationalists, but also the police and also Hope Not Hate.
This is again a twisting of the truth. Chris, and you'll see in the video that we played in a minute, Chris never says that I worked with them. I just spoke to them. Same with the Doxers channel, right? So let's get this into perspective. This was last year. The Doxers guy, me and him had kind of a cordial thing after I put out the voice notes pertaining to Kenny Smith, saying they was going to go and do harm to this guy, right? Because that's what any nationalist organization should be doing, right? Is going around and being a thuggish cunts, because that's the only image the media ever have of nationalism, isn't it? Just thugs. And yet here we have Kenny doing exactly that kind of shit. This was after obviously he'd asked the guy in Inverness to find out about the details of the Doxers guy in Inverness through the registrar's office, which again is also rather dodgy, asking someone to knowingly go into a registered office, not as that person, but to collect information on someone that they're not. That's fraud, isn't it? That's some kind of fraudulent activity there. That's Kenny wasn't doing it himself. I mean, Kenny could have done it himself, right? He could have drove up to Inverness, and he doesn't live that far. He only lives on the Isle of Skye. That's 100 miles between there and Inverness. Could have done that in a day, maybe 1 day. Didn't want to do it himself. I was asking this other guy to do it though. You'll notice the pattern with what Kenny Smith does and who he asks to get things to do. It's never him. He never seems to be the person to do the dirty work, shall we say? Like the time they actually had the Doxers guy in their car, right? He wasn't there. He asked Cyborg. He asked Blue Monday, and he asked what was his name? Johnny Alba, I believe. I think it was Johnny. The political officer guy in PA Scotland, or who he was at the time. I don't know now. So Kenny's never asking, never doing anything for himself, but he'll ask other people to do it, right? Okay, so that was the Doxers thing. So me and Doxers had kind of a cordial thing. I wouldn't say we were like good buddies, but I was being civil with him, right? Don't forget Doxers was the guy who literally put up my docs. Like he put out my docs on the internet, right? He was the one who doxed me, Was he working with Hope Not Hate? Yeah, he was, obviously, because he was the one who informed me that Hope Not Hate wanted to speak to me. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, the only reason I actually went to speak to Hope Not Hate is because I noticed they'd done an article on the Doxers incident in the car, right? And they put this article up, and within that article, they mentioned me, not by name, but by the things that I had then, put out for people to see just how, dodgy this organization is, and where it's being led. And there was there was, shall we say, an air of, well, yeah, I wouldn't say, mistrust, but you know, these guys, right? This chat that Hope Not Hate, you know, wanted to have. I don't know, but as soon as I read that article, I was like, okay, all right, okay, yeah, I don't know why they wanted to talk to me after the fact they wrote that article, right? It's weird, you know. If they wanted information, they would have asked me before writing an article, right? But they put out this article claiming I was part of national action, right? And so I was a bit mistrusting of what, you know, Doctors was like trying to get, you know, from here, because it was a bit like, all right, it's a bit weird after the fact. But yeah, and because they didn't mention me by name, I thought it was also like, okay, they're trying their dirty tricks. So yeah, Hope Not Hate do their dirty little tricks here. And well, yeah, I've got the screenshots to prove the accusations of what's coming are false, right? And well, let's hear it.
Now, I know what you guys are all going to be saying. Mark, these are some heavy-duty allegations here. You need some proof. Now, I've shown you some proof tonight. I've shown you Johnny Adair. I've shown you Paul Golding's... you've seen Paul Golding and Tommy Robinson saying these things. I've shown you articles online from the Hope Not Hate website.
Right, okay, so here he is making another inferment. He's trying to infer all these other people have shown you evidence, therefore my evidence is just as valid as theirs, right? He's trying to imply that because these guys have some kind of evidence that Hope Not Hate have paid people to say bad things or nasty things about them in articles and reports that they put out, therefore what I'm about to show you is just as valid and is in the right context. No need for, you know, just, you know, listen and believe. Basically, it comes down to what he's trying to get the audience to like do is just listen and believe him, right? Not actually say, hold on, well, what's the context here, right?
But now I'm going to drop some proof that is absolutely cast iron, because you can say you can never get it more straight than when it comes from the horse's mouth. So now I'm going to play you a clip of Chris Mitchell defending Fraser Hudson, Madfwaz, on a stream, and then shortly after that stream there is a private recording that was leaked to us in a chat room took place in a chat room on Telegram, where Mitchell admits he lied on the stream, that he was covering for Madfwaz, and that Fraser Hudson, aka Madfwaz, is working with all these groups. So get ready for this as I just load up the video file. Here goes.
So I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about the. I'm not going to put the voice note up because I think that would be an absolute breach
about
of...
the Madfwaz issue, by the way.
Yes, that's it. Yeah,
by the way, let me just go back to the Madfwaz, because I didn't bring it up earlier, like because we was talking about.
We should have done, really.
I just we got sidetracked. Whatever. He has not doxed anyone. Can we confirm that on stream? Has he doxed anyone, in your opinion?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. He released those 3 documents, didn't he, from PA, which I think is kind of bad, and you know I don't agree with that. But to be honest, me and Madfwaz have had this talk personally, so I don't really want to sort of air it out in public. But no, I don't think he's you know, I don't think he's a bad lad. I think he's just been treated quite badly, and I think he's reacted maybe in a way that he shouldn't have done. But it's, you know, it is what it is. We're all men of our own agency, and we all have responsibility of our own actions, don't we?
Yeah, I think it's similar to what we said about Dion. Like, he's a good lad. He's been there and he fought my corner, so like I got a lot of respect for him.
We gave him praise on the stream. We defended him on the stream.
Mercy and said, we've all said it to him multiple times. Going to the police is just something you don't do.
Well, yeah, this is his problem. I mean, like he's had the doctor. So he's had the doctor speaking to him, and the doctor's guy said to him, "Hope not hate want to speak to you," and he's gone and supposed to hope not hate as well. What? He'll interact with the doctor's guy as well. It seemed a pleasant conversation from screenshots we've seen. You know.
Can you see what they've tried to imply here, right? You want to go back and listen to that again? Like, nowhere in there does it say that I am working with. It just says that I have talked to the doctor's guy. Correct? Yes, he was literally in everyone's fucking inbox called Montaigne Nightjar, right? At the time, that was his thing. He was talking to everyone. He talked to Anglo Joe. He probably talked to Charlie Big Potatoes. He's probably talked to everyone he can, right? You know. This is it. Like he's talked to plenty of people. Does that instantly make you a hope not hate agent on one hand, right? And next, we have English Scion saying you shouldn't have gone to the police. Now this is a disagreement between, and I get the mistrust with the police. Yeah, I do, right? But in this instance, I was confronted at my door at just before 7 a.m. By two men, right? One, a bold guy that could only be described as Mr. Potato if he was a fucking white dude, a white Mr. Potato Man, right? And the guy who looked like he just walked out of fucking Starbucks for his morning fucking, vegan latte, yeah, right? These two guys turn up at my door before 7 a.m., right? Just as it hit 7 a.m. ish, right? Knock at the door saying, Mad Fwaz. And I instantly knew what these guys were here for. I had conversations with Kenny Smith where he told me about the shit that they were going to do to this doctor's guy, how they were going to damage him, and how they were going to steal his devices. So when I look through the fucking little peephole and I see fucking soy latte vegan man leaning against the wall with his phone out recording my door, right? I'm like, I know what the fuck this is, right? Literally the night before I put out, to defend the Inverness guy, saying that look, I've been asked to do dodgy shit as well. Right, because they were hounding that guy, yeah, this guy who's a young father, hopefully by now. He wasn't at the time, but hopefully his girlfriend's given birth to a healthy young child, right? And this guy, they were hounding this guy, threatening to dox him, right, over a voice note that was put out by Calamity, right? Calamity, a good friend of the guy, put out this voice note, yeah. And yeah, and that's why Calamity, it was also pushed out actually as well. I forgot to mention he was also like pushed out because he started to suspect that these guys were a bit dodgy, calling them, fed ups because he knew what his friend had been asked to do. With the Inverness thing, with the registrar's office. So I'm there at 7 a.m. thinking, what are these two fucking guys doing here? I don't know if there's any more of them, right? Yeah? Who knows if there's any more anywhere, right? So I'm like, fuck. I'm fucking, I fucking get on the phone and I'm like, yeah, can I talk to the police? Like, can you send the police around, please? I've got 2 men at my door trying to intimidate me. That's it. So when you say I talked to the police, yeah, I made a fucking police report because 2 men turned at my door, right? At 7 a.m. in the morning, yeah. That's not social hours, is it? Knowing my online name, right? Now, the thing is with my online name and where I live, there's only one place that would know that. Both of those pieces of information, and that would have been Patriot Alternative because of the information I gave over to them when I was vetted, right? when I was fully vetted, right, by Kenny Smith and Simon Crane. When I was fully vetted by these guys, yeah, they had that information, so they would only know those two combinations. No one would turn at my door and say, "Oh, match-wise, they, if anything, they would be like, "Oh, Mr. Hudson," right? And they gave it away straight away. They fucked up there, didn't they? Like, they wanted me to open that door so they could get into my flat or whatever. They fucked up because they used my online handle, right? Yeah. And that's when I knew they were trying to threaten me, right, and intimidate me. So yeah, I called the police and made a police report on them about that, because I'm not standing for that kind of thuggish shit, right? So if you want to fucking crucify me and say, "Oh, you talked to," yeah, well, guess what? I'm not a fucking well guy. I have serious problems with mobility, right? And yeah, I'm not probably, at the time, being unprepared, I probably couldn't defend myself, right? So yeah. So after that, I'm there fucking being, after they left, they fucking ran away after they fucking heard me, like, on the phone saying, "Can I talk to fucking Police Scotland?" Yeah. They fucking ran, yeah. They fucking ran off, yeah. And then a month, for the next month or so, I've fucking had people like, well, I'll tell you how I did it later, about how I fucking ordered takeaway for a whole month, and then, lo and behold, Mark Collett, in a stream he did on the speakers, decides to fucking tell me that, decides to put it out there that, oh, this guy lives on takeaways. Well, interesting that. How would you know that, Mark? Are you watching my house? Are you waiting for me to fucking go out the house? Because I hadn't left the house in a month, right, at that point. Because I know that that's what they're after, right? They're just waiting for me to fucking go out. They want to go out and, either harm me or whatever. So yeah, I had a credible fucking threat to my fucking safety here. And then, yeah, you may not agree, and you say, "Oh, don't talk." What can I do? Yeah, I've got some fucking thugs trying to fucking break down, telling me these things that they're going to do to their adversaries, their enemies, right? And now suddenly I'm their enemy because I don't agree with the dodgy shit they're doing. Okay, then fucking chastise me all you want. I don't care anymore. Like, I'm just gonna say fuck you if you fucking, you want to say, "Oh, we talked to the police." Yeah, for my fucking safety, right? Okay. Now, but this is the context that Mark Collett doesn't want you to know, right? Because in that context, you say, "Oh, well, okay, that sounds a bit fairer, right?" Right. Well, okay. So the next accusation there is working with Hope Not Hate, and Chris rightly blurts out at the time, "Oh man, he's talked to Hope Not Hate." Yeah, because I wanted to wait and not fucking, jump the gun like Chris did, and come out with it myself and say, "Look, Hope Not Hate have contacted me and fucking, they've lied about me, and I wanted to do a little thing about it myself." But then obviously, yeah, emotional reactions take over, and people get fucking, all flustered. "Oh, you talked to Hope Not Hate. What did you say to Hope Not Hate?" Well, I can show you what I showed. Said to Hope Not Hate, and I'll do that in a minute. Let's just finish this segment though, and then I'll get on to that.
So that's very serious, and there's a few things that we can take from that. You saw on a live stream earlier in the evening, Chris Mitchell and Anglo Joe, both of them look very shifty. Both of them look very uncomfortable. They both talk about him being a good guy. They both say fundamentally he's done nothing wrong. Then later, they are in a voice chat where they admit they knew he'd gone to the police. They know he's talking to a left-wing doxing site that has been putting up the home addresses and the business addresses of nationalists.
Yeah, one of those was me, Mark. Isn't that interesting? I'll tell you an anecdotal story about fash doctors as well. You see, the plan that I got from Kenny Smith about fash doctors was, well, you're gonna harass him and do harm to him, and just to to shut him up, to stop him doxing people. Well, after all of this, and should we say, after all this kind of rigmarole went down, yeah, we started talking. People in the 37, they started talking to Fash doctors, on a, and ideological. We talked to him, and he. Fash doctors actually apologized to me and said, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I doxed you," and it was actually a heartfelt apology. He actually said that, "I'm sorry I doxed you because I thought you were a violent thug, and that you were just, like the rest of them." He had built up, he'd been, got this idea that, all these ethnats and National Socialists and anyone, in that sphere, right, were just violent thugs. And yeah, he apologized. And then after that, after a while, between the 37 and, myself, when talking to him, he kind of, he mellowed out and he stopped doxing people. Did you notice that, guys? Did you notice that the doxers stopped doxing people after a while? You can thank the 37 for that. You can thank myself and many others. There are many ways to stop someone doing something you don't like. It doesn't have to be violence. You could just talk to them and find common ground. And this is what's so interesting with the in thing, because, and this is why I think Collett's really doing this, is because they're trying that tactic now, and it's working, isn't it? Interesting that it's it's not the violence that's going to solve this. It's finding that common ground. But that's another anecdotal story about, shall we say, the big bad Fash doctors then, and what he's trying to imply here.
And that he's also been going to Hope Not Hate. And you heard one of the people in the chat goes, "What?
I'm going to Hope Not Hate." No, they came to me. I didn't go to them. They came to me after the fact of writing an article. Yeah.
Because he's like, "Why have you defended him?" They're defending him. You can see by the shifty looks on their faces. I'm sure that little clip there, I'll circulate that later for anyone who wants to watch it again. I'm not going to force you to see those clowns again. But that is absolute cast iron proof that they knew that he was working with them. Now, I want to make a couple of other things clear. Vinnie Sullivan's on that stream. Vinnie Sullivan has nothing to do with this. I've spoken.
This is the most funny part, to be honest. His little attack dog, if many of you don't know, Vincent Burke, has, should we say, aligned himself with Patriotic Alternative in attacking people they don't like. Smear campaigns, the works. And it's funny that he jumps to the defense of his little bitch boy, in this, "Oh, Vinny's not part of this because, here we are doing guilt by association on this. It's very stream, but because Vinny's decided to disavow me and Chris, it's he's okay now. It's kind of, it reeks of, well, if everyone just disavowed me, then I would it'd be okay, right? I mean, that's why. And you have to ask, why does he want that? Why does Mark want everyone to disavow me? What do I have to say that is harmful to them? Why does he not want people listening to what I have to say? Why does he fear what I have to say? That is the only question you should ask in that situation.
Spoken to Vinnie Sullivan. He's distanced himself from Mitchell, Anglo Joe, and the other people who've still got stuff to do with Madfwaz, Fraser Hudson. And to this day, Fraser Hudson is in all of Chris Mitchell's groups and is still presenting podcasts and shows with him. And he knows, as I've proved there, beyond a shadow of doubt, Chris Mitchell knows that Fraser Hudson is in touch with the police, doxes, and Hope Not Hate. That is unforgivable. And all
to this day, I am in touch with Hope Not Hate, Fash Doctors, and the police. This all happened over a year ago. I haven't spoken to Hope Not Hate other than to say, fuck you, I'll sue you if you fucking don't remove that bloody piece of libelous content off your website. I haven't, obviously, other than making that police report, spoken to police about anything other than that. And what was it on Flash Doctors? Well, no one's seen him in 6 months because he's decided that he's giving up doxing. Did you know that? Flash Doctors has given up, again, thanks to people, you know, actually talking to him and, you know, steering him away from, you know, actually doxing people, you know. Pat on the back, guys, fucking, you know, well done. You did something without violence. Amazing, that, isn't it? Yeah, so he's gone and, you know, he's getting his life together. Like, he's done with doxing people. There you go. So, again, to this day, no. Again, another lie by Collett. You know, he wants to make the event that happened last year seem like it's still happening now to try and smear, well, Chris, the Inn, and their little their campaign they're starting up, the This Ends Now campaign. It's quite obvious. It's pretty, you know, timing's fucking, you know, there's no such thing as coincidence. It, you know, what can you say? Like, this is just reeks of a petty, broken man, right? Who's failed to utilize the momentum he garnered, right, with his movement in the beginning, yeah. Back, what, 2018, 2019, right? He's squandered that and turned it into a grift so that he can live nice and comfortably off some woman in I don't know, is it Indiana or somewhere, called Trish, who's a Jewish transgender. I mean, that's literally Mark Collett's, you know, game plan now, isn't it? That's all he's aspiring to. What is he actually achieving, like, now? You know, and this is why this is it. He's just jealous of what the Inn are doing. I make no qualms. I'll help the Inn out anytime they want and ask me to, right? You know, I'll help them. I've got no problems with helping them, you know, in anything they want to do, because I actually think, you know, these guys finally get it. These guys finally get why nationalism's failed for 70 years, right? And they don't want it to fail anymore. They want to see some changes, because it is bad. Like, some of the stuff out there it's literally demonic. Like, stuff they're doing to the kids, everything else, like, you know, it's fucking horrendous. But and this guy, you know, I even believe the Inn actually, like, you know, offered an olive branch and said, hey guys, look, you know, you can get on board with this. It's not about us. It's not about our little brand, you know, our leaflet. This is for anyone to put out there, any group in society, yeah, whether they're ethno-nationalist or, you know, so, you know, conservative or even left wing or whatever, you know, or, you know, a certain religious group. It doesn't matter if they're against certain things, but it doesn't have their branding on it, and, you know, they just want their e-fame and you know, the dough that comes with that, innit? But anyway, I'll finish this out with it. I don't think there's much more, and then I'll show you the screenshots.
All of these links, all of this spider web of intrigue was spun after Mitchell went and met with Dowson and Franson at their expense. Now, also,
again, is he implying that this only occurred after the fact that he went to, you know, talk with Dowson and Nick? It was only after that I came on board? That I've been there forever, like, you know, as some kind of, I don't know what he's trying to get at here. He's implying that Dowson and Griffin sent me into, you know, I don't know, like, what, just sit on Chris's streams and be friends with him for, like, after the fact? What is this? I don't get it.
They have stepped up their attacks on Patriotic Alternative, and they've been doing this with another so-called nationalist, Nick Griffin. And you might say again, it's just business. They just now want to take over the ethno-nationalist scene. It's just a matter of...
If anyone should take over the internationalist scene, it shouldn't be Griffin. It shouldn't be Dowson. It shouldn't be Jada. It shouldn't be you, Mark. It shouldn't be anyone at this point. I think it has to be a concerted effort. Do you not think? Barring you, of course, because I don't think anyone wants to touch you because you're a toxic piece of shit. To be honest, like your name literally destroys movements. You talk about the Sargon effect, but fuck me, like Mr. Nazi boy here, like you're toxic to any kind of like actual change that needs to happen. You are just literally the golden boy. You are the next Tommy Robinson, as a this guy, we should, focus all the effort into hating this guy. You'll just be him because you're past the shit you've done, your affiliations with certain German country in the 1930s. Everyone else bar you. That sounds like a good group of people, right? To get this shit done, But I digress. That's what I would like to see. But anyway, right. I'll get on to the. Should we get on to the? We will get on to the screenshots. I will just show you these. Share my window, unfortunately. Yes, share. Okie dokie. Right, okay. Here we go. So, right, I'm going to show you the screenshots of the interaction between me and Hope Not Hate. I've done this before. Again, I've shown this many a time, but, this is just for posterity's sake. I'm going to do it again. So, here we have, this is Matthew Collins. This is the @ he contacted me on after Fash Doctors said that Hope Not Hate wanted the word with me. After they had already written this article. Okay, so here we are. Matthew says, Fraser, ? I reply, yes, ? This is Matthew from Hope Not Hate. Our mutual acquaintance said you may want to talk off the record. I believe you wanted to talk to me. Yeah, would you be willing to have a chat? I say, what about? Your time in NA and PA. All off the record and not for publication, just for our research. NA. And I reply, NA, where did you get hold of that bollocks from? And he replies, we were told you had been in NA. Is that not true? Fine, if not, we can talk about PA, etc. Who's telling you I was in NA? I read your article. Did you mean to imply that was me? Yep. Because in the article they never mentioned me, and we'll get to that. I'll read that. It's one of the screenshots. Is there a reason you didn't use my name? I asked them. Is there a reason you didn't use my name? And they say, yep. And I ask, what was it? Writing an article about a bunch of violent idiots. There's nothing nice about pointing out a former member. Clear implication that I am violent and that I was a part of National Action, and National Action was violent, and National Action is a prescribed terrorist organization in the United Kingdom. So you wrote your article without knowing if I was a former member. Yeah, and Matthew replies, I was told you had left PA, you took the piss, they took the piss out of you, etc., etc., said you had left, was directed to you by our mutual contact. And I reply, the guy called David in your article, I wouldn't say mutual contact, right? At this time, it was tepid, like, between doctors and, like, myself, like, talking. It was only after this whole, rigmarole, and months of fucking, back and forth and talking about ideology that, it broke him. And he replies, Matthew, no, that's what I said. He's our mutual contact. And I reply, okay, he's the one who told you I was NA. Matthew replies, are you saying you were not? Obviously, we don't reveal sources. I said, "Are you going to edit your article now when I tell you I'm not?" "Not what?" He replies, "Is it not libelous to accuse someone of being part of a proscribed group in the United Kingdom? Who has accused you of that?" And I reply, "You wrote an article about a former NA and PA member, which you have now in this very chat confirmed you were talking about myself. When I asked if you could provide evidence I was an NA, you yet to provide a grain of evidence. That, my friend, is libelous accusation." And Matthew replies, "Would it be easier if I rang you? There seems to be some confusion in the space between the written form." At that point, he tries to ring me, and I declined. I didn't press anything. I was in the other chat with Chris saying, "What the fuck, he's trying to ring me now?" Like, and then he replies, "If you're denying being a former member, I can change it. It's no issue." Okay, here we are. Here is this the original one, or yeah, this is the original article they had on their website. Hope Not Hate. Here you are. You can see the URL, hopenothate.org, UK, 2021, 13th to the 9th of September. The bizarre and dangerous rituals of patriotic alternative, a cucumber for the National Front. Okay. And in it says, David had contacted PA to see what he could find out about the group, a group that declares has nothing to hide but good, honest patriotism and hatred of Jews. Having been directed through a series of bewildering and private chat rooms on the messenger app Telegram, David was asked to produce for PA's security department both a scan of his passport and utility bill in his name at his home address. David believed at the time he was then monitored by PA, who believes also sent someone to check the address on his utility bill and to confirm he lived there. This suspicion was later born out of when PA concluded in an internal discussion we've seen that David had moved from the address. David also claims PA tried to send a former member of National Action to the passport office in Inverness for more information on their potential new recruit. The former NA member left PA fearing he was being asked to break the law by possibly impersonating David at the passport office. Right. Okay, so this is another incident of literally Hope Not Hate making shit up because, again, they conflate me with the guy in Inverness, right? They think that I'm the guy in Inverness, which is not the case. And this is kind of like what other articles have. I think the Ferret did as well when they wrote about this last year. They also, I think, conflated fucking the Inverness person with me because they don't know who it is and I do, right? Okay, they don't know who this guy is. Yeah, so it's clearly there, former NA member and PA member, right? So here we are claiming that I am part of NA in the written form on their website. Okay, then we go. It's I think one of your former colleagues has been malicious, so happy to change it. Some of them PA Muppets are right nasty. Changing it now. Realizing that what he'd wrote on the website could land them in a liable case where they're accusing a member of the public of being a part of a prescribed group, which by law is illegal and could have seen myself put in jail for that accusation. They obviously don't want to hand over a wedge of money because they've been caught lying before, haven't they? They've had court cases where they've literally, had to pay out to people because they've lied about them. Right? People forget that. I can't remember the exact name of the case. But yeah, that would not be good for their reputation and their balance sheet, isn't it? From because considering they get funded by certain parties, yeah. So there we go. Okay, and here he goes. Okay, he says done. He's re-edited the article. So happy to talk. Why was Kenny Smith got it so in for you so much? And then he asked me, Fraser, and at that point I stopped replying. And that was it. That was my interaction with Matthew Collins from Home My Hate. It wasn't, oh, I'm talking with Hope Not Hate to give them all the information on PA. No, I was telling them to fuck off with their lies and slander. And here we have is the same article again, where it says, David believed at the time he was then monitored by PA, believes he sent someone to check the address of his utility bill to confirm he lived there. This suspicion was later borne out when PA concluded in an internal discussion. We have seen that David had moved from, okay, where is it? Bill at his home. The individual left PA fearing he was being asked to break the law. Okay, so they edited it. There we are. I'll hide that. The individual left PA fearing he was being asked to break the law by possibly impersonating David at the passport office. So they changed it. That's it. It's funny, isn't it? You know, I find it absolutely hilarious as well that supposedly in these all these Hope Not Hate exposures that I read Tommy was about. He's like, oh, they make all these lies up, and they're talking shit about people, and they've got no, there's no evidence, and we can't do anything about it, and yet all I had to do was say, look, you've lied about me, take it down, and they fucking did, because they knew they were bullshitting. So why is it such a problem for like people like Tommy, Paul Golding, Mark Collett, and all that with all these lies? You just say to them, look, you're lying, quite honestly. If they're making libelous accusations, then there's no problem. You could be able to just take them down, right? Because they don't want to get sued, do they? Here's one guy doing it, and yet all these organizations are failing to do that. I don't see the problem there. I find that a bit suspicious, don't you? So yeah, don't believe the bullshit about fucking, oh, we can't do anything. These people, write lies about you. That just proves that you can, if it's total bullshit. There's nothing to go on, which then just makes it interesting that if they say no, we'll keep the article up, they must have something, right? Bit interesting that. I don't know. But yeah, so there's the interaction with Hope Not Hate. That's it. That's the accusations from Mark that I work for Hope Not Hate. I'm being, what's the other one? Oh, I'm being paid by them, I guess, is kind of thing. I work. I'm a police informant. Work with fast doxers. That's it. I mean, if anyone has any questions now for me on this, I'd be happy to take them. Yeah. So, anyone got any questions before we go? Before I wrap this up? Anyone got any questions? Put in the chat. Anyone? No one got any questions. Nope. If no one's got any questions, guys. Nope. Okay. Okay then. Right. If no one's got any stuff, I'm gonna sign off. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. And hopefully this is the last time I have to fucking. I probably won't be. As long as Mark Collett exists, he'll be cursing my name. The fat guy that got him, I guess. Night all. Oh, okay. Actually, there was a question. Good thing you got in there about the Spurk Hunter. Yeah. Next time, just put an at my name. Hi, that's me. Yeah, just at me so I know it's a question to me. Spurk Hunter asks, what first triggered your suspicions about PA? Actually, it was when Kenny Smith got me back in after I left. I was just a bit suspicious because supposedly he said that, oh, I've got a special job for you. Before he put me on the Scottish media team. This was the first thing. Oh, I've got a special job, but we'll leave that for later, he said. And then he put me on the Scottish media team as some kind of like test, I think. he was like testing me, right? Because I think he wanted to, you know, he wanted to see if I would do, you know, I'd be in with the doing the dodgy, dirty shit, you know. Yeah, that kind of got my suspicions up a bit. Yeah, and then just after that, it was literally the people that just started disappearing. You know, were being pushed out, and then obviously also, you know, being asked to do this dodgy shit. That was, you know, that culminated in it. But that was my first suspicious thing. I was like, that's a bit weird. You brought me back for this one thing. You don't just want me back because, you know, I'm a charming guy. Why are you bringing me back for this one specific job? It turns out to be quite illegal. Yeah, that was a bit dodgy. Yeah. Okay, so when you is that it? Everyone else got a question? Anyone? No? Okay. Cheers, guys. Right. Thanks for coming. Good night. End the